This is David Cutcliffe, head football coach of Duke University. You're listening to The Drive with Mark Panichelli on the 252 ESPN Radio Network.
Ghent Sandwich Shop, Broad Street, New Bern. Delicious breakfast and lunch. Oh my goodness. Daily specials that are not only affordable but delicious, and home of the legendary hot hamburger plate. You may have tried a hot hamburger plate, but you've not tried one until you've tried one at Ghent Sandwich Shop. Again, Broad Street, New Bern. We want to welcome back to the show. He's really didn't go anywhere. He's been holding on, but Kyle Gaskins, man, thanks for holding. And
absolutely, no worries.
We really do appreciate you being on today. And I could not, first off, you and Sam engaged in a friendly Twitter debate. Twitter bait. Can I call that?
No.
A Twitter bait?
No, don't do that. Let's just call it a Twitter war. Don't use the word bait.
Twitter, you don't?
No, stay away from that.
See, the Twitter war, though, that has to be a lot more tweets than just two to each other. It can't be a Twitter war.
Yeah, that's good. I was like, you know.
Well, the reason it didn't escalate into a Twitter war is because I ended it by saying, Kyle, it looks like we have a show topic. Let's put this on hold till Tuesday. Yeah,
I mean, you guys had the beginnings of an interesting discussion, and listen, people who definitely know me feel like, when do you ever have free time? Because you seem to watch a little bit of every sport that exists on the planet. And I do. And I have a problem, and I can't help that. The debate is about is it the NBA playoffs versus the Stanley Cup playoffs?
No, not at all, really. It's so Kyle tweeted something about, I guess this was last Friday, that ESPN was airing.
Yes. This is the college baseball discussion.
Right. ESPN was airing 30 for 30, some old 30 for 30s. It was the Lakers versus Celtics 3-part series that they did, instead of airing a matchup between the teams who are number 2 and number 3 in college baseball, who, quite frankly, I have no idea who is number 2 and number 3 in college baseball. Kyle, can you enlighten me on who the matchup actually was?
Now, when I said that and how I didn't realize that first off, it was Oregon State Stanford had a big series in Corvallis. Oregon State took 2 or 3 from Stanford, but it was broadcasted on the Pac-12 network. But I'll just replace that gripe with the other gripe that Georgia is the number 5 RPI ranked team, ranked 15 in most polls. Florida is number 1 in every poll and is number 1 in the RPI. They were having the world's largest outdoor cocktail party, baseball edition, this weekend. And again, ESPN decided that we need to slam and cram Celtics Lakers from the 80s down your throats. This is what you want, instead of an actual competitive college baseball game. Well, that was my biggest gripe.
And my defense there was, Friday night we did not have any NBA playoffs, and I think the larger majority of people are probably more interested in what is touted as one of the best 30 for 30s that ESPN has ever done. But the Twitter beef, I guess we can say, continued to where Kyle had mentioned the college baseball, as I said. And as we talked about last week, I had said to Kyle, this furthers my point that college baseball just doesn't really move the needle that much for the general public. Kyle says that the biggest thing is this is what happens when you break the bank getting the TV deal for the most boring professional sport. We later found out that Kyle was referring to the NBA as the most boring sport. So, Kyle, I will give you the floor first here. Why is NBA the most boring sport? Because I think I am not alone in this room, in this studio here, as I sit next to Mark, in thinking that you are extremely wrong.
I'm a huge NBA fan, yes. Go ahead, Kyle.
See, my basis on it is I understand the popularity of it. I'm not saying that it's not popular. What I'm saying is that the actual product, the games itself, are not entertaining. The players and some of the plays they make are entertaining. And why ESPN probably made the deal with them was because of SportsCenter, a big highlight show, gets the sport that has the most highlights possible. I understand it through that way. But what I'm saying is, based on the games, it's not entertaining to see Golden State in the second round beat the brakes off of their opponent. It's not entertaining to see the Rockets give everything they possibly could at the Warriors and still lose by double digits at home. It's so lopsided at the top. And even at the top, there are only 4 teams that had any realistic shot at winning the NBA championship this year. And entering the season, the Rockets had like a 5% chance, the Celtics had like a 5% chance, and the Cavs had a 20%. And the Warriors had the rest of the percentage of chance. So I think it's 70 is how the math went. But my biggest gripe is that the NBA it's just not entertaining for me because I know the outcomes before it happens. I'm not one of the people that can rewatch a game and know the outcome and watch it for entertainment. That's my biggest thing with games. I want it to be up in the air who's going to win, not it's already been decided 2 years ago on July 4th when Kevin Durant went to the Warriors. That's my biggest gripe with the NBA.
So you make a lot of good points, and like you're not wrong.
There's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah. There's an awful lot. I guess where I will start with what we can call the defense of the NBA is the entertainment product that basketball brings runs so much deeper than what we actually see in 48 minutes of basketball, right? And that's perfect on its own. I mean, within 5 minutes of the game last night, we had a scuffle between Draymond Green and Chris Paul. That immediately gets me hooked. The game was tied at halftime last night. That gets me hooked. And I know they essentially ended up blowing out the Rockets last night. The Warriors did. Yeah. But that's exciting to me to see a team in it like the Rockets are. And this is a team who, for the last 2 seasons, has been building to this moment, thinking they finally put all the right pieces in place to take out the Golden State Warriors, and then they think they have it for one half, and then in half of a quarter, they all of a sudden realize, no, what we have done is still not enough. So I guess as a consumer, for that product on the court and to know what these teams are constantly building towards, I guess that's the excitement to me, and that's what draws me in. I almost like that there is the powerhouse in Golden State because now we know what everybody else has to try to work towards and build to, and it almost makes me happy when you see these teams fail after they have done all this work and put together all the right pieces, so they think, and then it's still not enough.
Well, I always want to say I thought Celtics Sixers was a great, entertaining series. All those, even though it was, I was telling you, even though it was a 4-1 series win for the Celtics, all of those games were, competitive and fiery. Certainly, the current situation in the Eastern Conference has got to be somewhat unexpected because if you were talking about the predictability, everybody still has Cavs, Warriors in their final. So if the Celtics were to pull this off, this is, I think, part of that, especially the fact that their 2 best players, arguably 2 best offensive players, are not playing on the team right now because of injury. That's unexpected. And to me, Sam and I were talking about this, Kyle. I think that while we've reached almost the same destination, we still could get Cavs Warriors in the final. The road to get there wasn't as predictable as the destination was. There were a lot of dirt roads. So to me, the NBA season, as you and I were talking about, Sam, was really entertaining going back to before Christmas because there was so much going on as far as teams, injuries, the rise of the Philadelphia 76ers, probably the best rookie class the NBA's seen in quite some time. I think there were a lot of other stories that were great. But now and this is where I thought it was the NHL versus the NBA here, is because I do know that Kyle is going to watch the Stanley Cup playoffs and the college baseball, as you were talking about, before he's watching the NBA. But now I'm a huge connoisseur, as well as you know, Sam, of watching the Stanley Cup playoffs because I do enjoy watching those. And we got history going on right now. We could have an expansion team getting to the final to play the Washington Capitals, breaking the Washington sports curse. So I am on the side of really both of those being entertaining. But again, I have a sickness of watching a lot of sports. But now when it goes back to college baseball, is very hyper regional for me. My interest is really only ECU, North Carolina State. And, if Duke or somebody like that has a decent run, then maybe there's some interest there. But I unlike Kyle, I have no interest in watching, who would you say, Oregon State, Pac-12 baseball? I have no interest in watching Pac-12 baseball because I
have no
watch
idea.
Major League.
No, I was saying you have no idea how long I tried to get around the paywall of the Pac-12 network to try to watch that series across the way. But no,
go to Reddit.
I will give for real. I will say something nice about the NBA. The championship, the finals are good. The finals are good. The thing with the NBA though for me is like you said, I know the destination. So
right.
I'm not one. My way of watching sports is that I'm not really a guy that's along for the journey. I want the destination. And like I said, like with my thing on sports, I like unpredictability, which is why with college baseball you could have like what happened with ECU, a 5-run 8th and 9th inning to come back and win a game. You all thought you lost. That's my biggest thing with college baseball and the NHL. And still with the NHL, it's a lot more unpredictable what's going to happen. And with this playoffs, a lot of the away teams are winning at a higher rate. Normally, it's the home team wins. It makes absolutely zero sense. But I am going to say, Sam, I'm excited for next year with the NBA. For the one thing I'm ready to see is I'm ready to see where LeBron James does go.
Philadelphia.
He would have to go either Philadelphia or Houston. Those are the only two destinations I could see him going.
He's going to Houston. You guys are getting Paul George.
No, we're getting Kawhi and LeBron.
How about Kawhi and Paul George?
I'm cool with that, too. I'm cooler with that. I don't like LeBron. But I will be a fan.
But it's going to be interesting because if LeBron does go out west, it makes the Western Conference Finals more entertaining. But it gives you – I know Sam isn't going to like this, but if you lost in 5 games to the Celtics now, you don't have a prayer at beating them when Kyrie and Gordon Hayward come back. Unless you add a Paul George.
I don't know, man. I legitimately think that Boston is better without Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward.
That's crazy talk. Crazy talk. I don't want to hear anything like that.
Kyle, you've made great points, and I completely understand. And I think what you need to do, I think at the core of your argument, and you share a sentiment with a ton of sport fans out there, and that's the fact that really the problem for you and the problem for a lot of people is that Kevin Durant and the Golden State Warriors ruined basketball for about a 4-year stretch here, and we're finally seeing the rest of the league catch up to that. So I like what you're saying, where you're sort of seeing where other teams are starting to catch up, and that's going to bring you back to the NBA. But you said one thing in particular.
Hey, I just wanted to input the full-strength Boston Celtics with Hayward and Kyrie Irving. That's the team that can contend with the Golden State Warriors. Am I being ultra homer right here? I have to be, but that was my moment. I'm sorry. I will punish myself.
I don't think
Homer.
I actually don't think that's that crazy, because I think you guys are going to beat the Cavs in 5, and then I think you can push the Warriors to
lose to the
6.
Warriors.
Yeah, but I think they can push them. But Kyle, the thing that you said that sort of made my ears perk up is you said you are all about the destination, not about the journey when it comes to your sports viewership. But I know that yesterday during the middle of the day you were watching Cubs Braves. I know that out of the 162 some odd games that there are in the baseball season, you watch probably 95% of them. You love the journey more than anybody else. How can you say you're just a destination only guy?
No. When it comes to a sport that it's not my team. That's what it is. If my team is not competing in the playoffs or the championship, that I watch my team play pretty much no matter what. It's just I'm not going to tune in to a tonight. I'm not going to watch the Rangers game. I'm not going to see the Rangers play the Royals or just a random game like that. Just like in December, I'm not going to tune on to watch the Cavs play the Pacers. Like it.
Hold on.
It's different.
Cavs Pacers is a hell of a rivalry.
Here's what I'm saying. So, do I take it if maybe the Charlotte Hornets were a little bit better team, because I feel like that's probably your rooting interest from an NBA standpoint. If the Hornets were better, would the regular season and watching them play Eastern Conference games and would that be more interesting to you? Because that would probably be your team, right?
See, I like the Warriors. Like it as a player. That's the funny thing about the NBA for me is you have people that have their teams, and then you have people that have their players. Like I would like to see the Hornets succeed, but my two favorite players in the league are Stephen Curry and Kevin Durant. So I'm going to watch the Warriors and hope they do well more than I am the Hornets right now. But with the Hornets, if they got better, probably toward the later part of the season, and I would watch more of the first rounds of the playoffs. But as far as a journey during the season goes, that 7 o'clock time slot in the winter is reserved for the Carolina Hurricanes. So it's not going to change if the Hornets start playing better.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned hockey because I understand the woes of the Washington Capitals. But tonight, 8 o'clock, we've got Boston versus Cleveland. You've got the unsuspecting Boston Celtics potentially just upsetting the king and putting him down 2-0 in LeBron James. But you've also got a Capitals team, and I understand the woes of the Capitals once again, but they are up 2-0. Are you really watching hockey tonight over this Cleveland and Boston game?
Seeing that well, first off, if I was going to be watching it, because the ECU game tonight, barring a rain out, but what I'm probably going to do, since I'll be with a group of people, the majority is going to want to watch the Celtics game, and that will be on the television. But I will have my laptop in front of me watching the majority of the Capitals game while looking up. That's kind of what I've done this season, because that's how I stay a little current enough to still talk about the NBA. It's popular. There's no denying that, and a lot of people do like to follow the NBA. So I'll have my little computer set up watching my hockey, watching my college baseball while the NBA is on television.
So the boring, non-exciting, disappointing NBA gets the big screen, and this hockey and college baseball that everybody, according to you, cares so much about gets the little screen. I understand.
Hey, I understand the popularity. It's popular. It's just not, the product is not as good. That was my biggest philosophy, that the games aren't good, but the popularity rises. And that may or may not be because ESPN pushes it. And the majority of sports fans watch ESPN in the morning, have the ESPN app. That's where they get all their information. And if ESPN is pushing something, people are going to pay attention to it more.
I mean, in theory. But I haven't seen, ESPN's been pushing Formula One on people since they bought it, and I can't get Sam to watch a Formula One race with me. I can't get him to get up and watch Formula One. And I mean,
doesn't the same
Lewis
guy
Hamilton's
win every
having
year?
a fantastic year.
I don't know who that is.
It's a little crazy this year. Vettel's won in the Ferrari.
Lewis Hamilton, doesn't he play for the Cincinnati Reds? Or Billy Hamilton? Whatever.
Billy Hamilton.
Yeah.
Same guy.
Kyle, I think you and Barry Melrose just need to get a room.
Oh, dude, Barry needs somebody. Barry is all alone at ESPN. They fired everybody else.
He is the NHL staff.
They just hold Barry hostage in Bristol and force him to talk about. Have you watched his interviews? He's doing Morse code with his blinking. He's being tortured. We have to help him.
Help.
Someone help.
Free Barry. Free Barry.
We really have to go, but we will continue this debate. I am interested to watch that Capitals game during commercials of the Celtics game tonight. I'll go and peek, but I'm obviously clued into that Celtics game. I have my rooting interest, but Kyle, we'll continue this. Next week, a big discussion is the Pirate baseball team will be heading into that American Athletic Conference postseason tournament. But great to talk to you as always. Thank you for coming on today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, we need to take a break. Don't go anywhere. More of East Carolina Sports Show and Your Ride Home is coming up.